don't like using this type of photo, but it's all good. It's all good. But anyway, I just wanted to just like share this one. I saw it on TikTok or on, YouTube here. And it's a young lady, R. Kelly calls from jail. Maybe she had somebody connect her to R. Kelly from jail or whatever, the way maybe somebody from his that he knows or whatever that has connections with him. So what happens is that she gets on the phone. She says, "Oh, can I do a favor for me?" And she wants R. Kelly to sing to her. And instead of singing something that we are all familiar with, I mean something that is like we know, like when he says sing "Bump and Grind" and "Step in the Name of Love" or whatever, but you want to hear something like to know it's him, like his song, and know that it's his voice or whatever. I don't know if this is AI, but they sure got it all. They did a pretty good job fooling us, okay? That it's R. Kelly, but I thought it was kind of cute.
Can you sing a song for me?
Which one?
Love Letter?
Oh,
Did you get my call?
did you get my call? Love letter. When you read my love letter. Yes, sir.
Okay, y'all. I had to cut it there. But it's just like, imagine you getting a phone call and it's R. Kelly, and you like, okay, this is the only way you could. But see, a lot of people practice to imitate his voice or whatever, and then you got AI out here. So you got to be like, really, like, is it really him? But next time I want to see R. Kelly singing, I want to see R. Kelly singing. I want to see physical R. Kelly and his voice right there. That's what I want to see because these AI things and everything, you don't know who it is, but they did sound pretty good and they did sound like it was R. Kelly. But the one that we got the news like from his if it hit mainstream news outlets that Jennifer Bongine, actually somebody from a mainstream news outlet from ABC or whatever like that, or CBS or NBC or CNN or whatever, those news outlets, Fox, if it comes from those news channels, and it came from every outlet in those mainstream, in those local channels on the local level, um, yep, they confirmed it. But if they don't confirm it, coming from the mainstream media, now listen to what I'm saying. If these AIs, if his attorney does not come out in the public and say to you, yes, that's R. Kelly, if you question it, and I think a lot of people need to question if it is R. Kelly, if it's not R. Kelly, because some people have been doing some things, and I just heard about one channel specifically that people been invited to go over to as one of the big platforms out here. Is they work for the feds. Okay, that channel Whack 100. I heard it is the name Whack 100, and I heard Whack 100 when one of the supposedly R. Kelly platforms. This person seems to always like when R. Kelly is on supposed to be calling him on his platform and they having conversations, and a lot of R. Kelly fans fell for it. And the thing is that it's funny how he done this right after R. Kelly did the song Residuals, and he was supposed to have been telling the R. Kelly supporters, and I mean he was supposed to have people over there telling them to come over because the R. Kelly's going to be on the phone tonight, and we got a surprise for you. So people they gravitate to that, and you got to understand too that he sings as well, and he can sometimes do voice makeovers. Okay, so anyway, I'm just saying, and he's always had this thing about him being R. Kelly. So there's a lot of impersonators out there with a lot of false information. So and they working with certain kind of platforms that aren't really in the best interest of R. Kelly. And I'm just going to put it out there because it was just somebody that just talked about that specific platform that is WAC 100 is working for the feds. Okay, so you don't know who you're dealing with out here on these platforms, and these are some high profile cases with R. Kelly, Jay Z, and P. Diddy, and all this other stuff. It's a lot of false information out here on these platforms. There's no way Diddy or Jay Z or R. Kelly can ever get a fair trial with all the conversations going on the social media around these people's name. If you don't hear it from mainstream media, even though we know they don't got the best interest for none of them, okay, these three black men, but still in all, it has to be confirmed from those platforms. And it's just the way it is. I can't be out here running from platforms. Oh, R. Kelly called this. I just wanted to just say this was cute. Imagine if R. Kelly do call you, but I know this is fake. This is AI shit. Somebody that knows how to call, make it sound like a prison phone call from R. Kelly, and they can impersonate his voice in some sort of kind of way and say it's an app or whatever, and just think that yeah, it's R. Kelly, but it's really not him. And that's why residuals, we knew it was him because we felt the passion of we felt it when he did the remix to the song, that those are actually things going on in his real life right now. Okay? You know what's going on, and nobody else can say it better than you can. And that's why it sounded so well that it was R. Kelly's voice, and his attorney legal team had to come and confirm it on mainstream media. People out here are stealing identities, and they just putting things out there that ain't true. Okay, around all the stuff he's going through right now, he could share but so much information to the public. Now, doing the song part, they was like, well, how he did that and whatever. But even through listening to that song, well, it was basically meant for the people stealing his money, his residuals or whatever. And he talking to his people that was in the business with him as far as friends, and seeing him going through what he's going through, and he's been helping them out. But anyway, feeding everybody. Just say it like that. He ain't been caught up in the nonsense like Diddy and Jay-Z, not as much. But me, I think it's just going to be something that is going to be some unfinished business. And that's when Jay-Z and R. Kelly was together, working on something, collaborating music together, doing tours together, and then somewhere or the other, there came some interference. So while they were working on the best of both worlds, they was just working on some unfinished business. So with all of this being going on right now with R. Kelly, Jay-Z, Diddy, it's like this. It could only be one king standing in this world right now for hip hop. Okay? R&B is already it's like it's over. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's R. Kelly's world. The best of two worlds, right? So R. Kelly's world is the R&B world, and of course Jay-Z world is hip hop. So the thing is that there's still there's something that's interference. There's some interference in the middle. And who would you think will be the person in the middle? Will be Diddy. Because both Diddy and Jay-Z both are from Brooklyn. I mean, not Brooklyn, from New York. Kelly standing on his own in Chicago. Okay, from Chicago, the R&B king from Chicago. There's a hip hop world for us, and it collides with both worlds, with R&B and hip hop. So anyway, so you got to split the world. You got to, hey, this side belongs to your side, this side belongs to my side. Can only be one king standing. Okay? So it's Diddy and Jay-Z. New York, Diddy from Uptown, and Jay-Z from Brooklyn, from Marcy Projects, whatever, up there in Brooklyn. But notice that Jay-Z don't got as much filth and corruption and whatever in his hands. Only thing they saying is that with young girls and stuff like that, connected him with R. Kelly on that note. Like they was boys. They were business part. I mean, they were not. They were co-workers. Okay, collaborate in music, co-workers. That's it. Don't listen to people putting more and more to it. Co-workers, people can work together in certain arts and just work together and trying to figure out like putting something together, like tours. How are you going to make the money? How are you going to take care of this? How are you going to take care of that? Co-workers, they work together. They doing their part. Everybody putting their little part to it. Like me teaching the kids when I said clean up, everybody got to clean up. Everybody do your share. So they both sharing their ideas, you know, and putting them to engineering is like engineering, putting everything that works together. How one thing works with the other. So anyway, some people are just ignorant and retarded out there. So these are two great artists. Diddy's not really an artist. He was always just the business part of the hip hop world and everything, making the money and rocking with Clive Davis and doing modeling and that part. He was more marketing. He did everything more for the marketing part or whatever, but his people, like his whole group, even though Rock Nation, I don't know if Rock Nation is still holding together like that. I don't, what Jay-Z people, all those who rocked with Jay-Z at the time and they came up together as Rock Nation. I don't know about what's going on with the Junior Mafia, those people that came up under Diddy. That's Little Kim. What's this little? What's that? Maze, and a few other people. I think of Daryl Terrell or whatever, and these dudes, right, with Diddy over there. Okay, those people. R. Kelly stands alone. You know what I'm saying? He stands alone by himself as the R&B king. Ain't no Chocolate Factory. Who's those people? Who are those people? And after he was with the group Public Announcement, everybody went their separate ways, and then they start trying to make a few on their own without R. Kelly. But he surpassed all of them. So it's like he's the only R&B king standing. And then you got Diddy coming over with he's in the middleman's type of thing. We don't. So the only thing is this is between. The unfinished business is not even with Diddy, it's really with Jay-Z. So they trying to get Jay-Z and R. Kelly, and they trying to hit them with these 30 whatever charges they're going to have, even though I know that Jay-Z ain't going down. Okay, I already got my bet on it. All right? It ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. The only person that probably get 30 years is going to be Diddy. I got my bet on it. The only one who's going to get 30 years is Diddy. And it might not even be 30 years. He probably do no more than maybe 15. I don't know too much about prison life, and to be honest with you, the culture of the prison, I mean how things is done there, like how the statute goes where a misdemeanor to outrageous like a murder charge or whatever like that, or you get something like the real high or RICOs are like gangster shit. But I don't really understand all of that part of the law, of criminal law and stuff. So yeah, just bear with me that I'm just saying that if anybody get real hard time, will be probably P Diddy, because he was involved with stuff, a lot of stuff. He got to see a lot more that actually was going on in that world with the parties and the drugs and the prostitution and the trafficking and all that. He's probably seen the deepest part of it than any of these out of R. Kelly and out of T Diddy. I doubt if R. Kelly was at any of the parties. They said he was having parties too, but we all party. I mean, it goes with the lifestyle. Who's not going to party? I mean, that's so stupid. Like, then why are you so mad? You was probably there too, right? Like everybody was at the party. The whole country was at the party, the Diddy parties, and you better believe it. Maybe not physically there with Diddy, but they was at the parties. You understand what I'm saying? That people do parties like that. That's why when I know it's gonna be doing some wild and crazy stuff, I don't go to these parties. They go on the nightclubs. They go on in the back and in the bar. You go on and it's just the part. Everybody been to the party, okay? Everybody's been to the party. Everybody did wrong under the sight of God. And yes, we was doing some unclean, disgusting things according to who we are in nature. But some things just getting a little out of control when children are involved. Yes, you should be concerned about trying to, hey, people, these little kids, and da 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 da. Now you're getting a little too, taking it too far. But some of them are grown adult women that make the choices to go into business like that. Then that's their choice. They made that choice. They know what's up. They want somebody, like they didn't actually work to build this empire with, and you're just going to come around and you think you're just going to take everything that I did. Doesn't work like that. Boo boo. So, and now they come in with this, they send these little plants in, these girls from these modeling agencies, these young girls they train up to be in the music industry, and they go undercover and they say, hey, I want to set you up with this superstar. This is what you're going to do. They got them set up in a little, that's just things that world do. You know what I'm saying? That world, that's what that world is all about. It's always been all about that. I saw that in a Quentin Tarantino movie when what was that movie called again? Oh God. Uma Thurman was in it. Oh. Well, anyway, in the movie, one of the fighters, the Cindy Lou, the Lou Sulu, or whatever, the Japanese woman, something about her story behind her when she went to work with this. They were real executionists, okay? Executionists. He was like the king of the executionists, and he had all those females and everything as his fighters. So, in that movie, it's a part about Cindy Lou's story of some Japanese wealthy men in Japan, well dignified man or whatever, in their culture over there. And of course, she lost her parents. He killed her mother. He killed her father. He killed her family. So she came back for her big, revenge. And something about the fact that he also was a pedophile. That's how she was able to get close to him. So she was already sent in as a child, and knowing that he likes little kids, that's how she was able to get close to assassinate him. Just like these people in this industry with saying R. Kelly is a pedophile, or Diddy is a pedophile, and Jay-Z are pedophiles. In that industry, they only want young girls. They want them as young as 13. If they can find some lost and turned out young girl out there who got a messed up home life, but she's still trying to survive out there in the way she could best make it out there, she's gonna use what she got. She's gonna use her body and not her brains. Well, she kind of being smart because she got to survive, right? So she going out there. So they scout them out. That's how they find them. They might hang out at clubs. They might hang out at, I doubt, in the schoolyard. They're not going to go to schoolyards. These big celebrity um, pedophiles, you would say, as far as those, because that's too obvious for them. That's why I know that bullshit about them saying R. Kelly's a predator is a bullshit ass lie. Now, if you go back to your history, you go back to his history when he tell his story, he talks about Mr. McLean, the lady who called him out to be a singer. She's the one who helped him work with his gift. So that was something she poured into him. That's something she gave him, something she recognized about him. And he didn't really take that as his first choice. Of course, his first choice of his life was to be an athlete. He wanted to be a basketball player. That's what his that's where he found his most first passion. Miss McLean taught him something different. And then it became something great. So he goes around, he looks at his old neighborhood, giving a documentary of his life, some things about his life, a biopic of his life and everything. And here people turned it into, attaching him to minors. Nobody knows how old the young girl was in the video. Nobody knows. I wasn't there. You wasn't there. I don't know her. She don't know. But even though the aunt came and said blase, blase. But then when we hear the second trial from what we already knew from the first time of the so-called minor, okay? So it's really like people just cold run and they just add things on. Nobody really knows. And that's why I say these men should not be sitting behind bars. Let them go free. Throw all that shit out. And let's just move on without music. Okay? Let's just have some great music. But as far as for people angry with Diddy from what you might find is true, because we did see the videotape of him beating the hell out of Cassie. The stomping and the kicking and all of that, dragging and stuff, that wasn't necessary for him to do that to that female. It could have been damaging, but still in all, she was a plant. And she was assigned to do what she had to do to get some footage, to get what she needed, so she can, at the time, to get what she needed, so she can frame Diddy. Okay, this thing was all already arranged to set him up. Like I said, they ain't gonna go get no older woman. They ain't gonna get no older woman to come into these industries. No, they're gonna go get little girls. And that's the reality of it. It's always been a business of predatorial. It's always been that way. So what so many people want to put them in jail for? Because that's what when you see these women coming out with these stories, that's because this is what they signed up for. That's their world. But when they come out and they tell a story and everything, don't be a victim. Take that as a lesson in life. You live through that experience and move on. Don't look back to get no revenge of the choices you made. And this ain't no victim shaming. This is just really what it's all about. That is the life of the rich and famous. Diddy did not start this. R. Kelly did not start this. And neither did Jay-Z. This was here before they even thought about coming to this world. And let's be real with people out there who have been a victim of and violated. But they know when you sign up for these modeling agencies and they're going to try to get your career, you have all this talent and these gifts and all this other stuff that you want to actually explore with, or things you want to grow in your, craft or whatever. Just be careful, because there's predators out there. And the most important thing you need to have with you is your relationship with Christ. That you get out, and you get out with dignity. With dignity. Because some people, they don't went to the dogs. To the dogs. But you get out with dignity. Because ain't nothing going to happen when it comes to power and money and sex. The game is cold. The heart, there is no love in that game. It's no love when it comes to power, money, sex, all of that. The game is cold. Nobody have true love. Nobody can be trusted. And sometimes the only way out is death. never get to live in peace. You know, you don't have no peace. People always, like, if they know you famous, oh, you got some money, they may attach to money to them. And you got predator, you know, you just got some crazy people out there, predators. And entertainment would always be around because people need to be entertained. You know, because through entertainment is called, you learn in your play. You learn in your play. Like we teach the children in school. We buy these manipulative objects and they learn how to be critical thinkers. It helps their cognitive development. It helps sometimes their sensory. It helps them, they phonical awareness. It's you learn in your play. And as you learn in these games of life that God put us in, because we are the real things as children to God. But in the world that we're living in, is the children we got to bring up in the world. We give them manipulate. See how this child is developing. Every child has his own time, his own way, special gift that they do. And I always say that because I look at my children in the classroom and I get crazy. I'd be like, oh my God, I love this painting. I love the way your artwork is. And, you know, just watching them, it's just amazing. And already that I can look at those children in that classroom and I can tell which path they're taking just by watching them develop in their skill. He's definitely going to be a doctor, or she's definitely, I could see it in her now that she's going to work in some civil job, or I could tell she's going to be somebody that's going to always be a person that's going to get ahead, you know, thriving, a person that's always thriving. I could just look at the child in the class and be like, okay, I could see it. Just like how God already know where you going. Like if that person is still going for that, that's who they are, and that's where God has made them and created them to be. There's no reason to be jealous of anybody because we all got our own identity. But when you get yourself jealous and crazy, that just hurts you. That ain't hurting that person. I ain't got no hate for that. You good, you good. You good at something, you good. It may not be to my liking of what you think is good, but if that's what you think is good, it's good. Ain't no reason for me to fight about it. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to come and share this video of some body TikToking that R. Kelly called them on the phone, and we know that is not him. If it does not come from the mouths of his legal team, and if it's not coming from a mainstream media, a mainstream network, don't believe it. Coming from these little TikTok videos and people platforms that R. Kelly is calling, blah, blah, blah. Only if it has been coming from the mainstream media. Okay? And the funny thing about it is that there is a platform of R. Kelly. But I gotta get I know it's a platform on YouTube that is the authentic R. Kelly, the real R. Kelly platform. But I'm just not really ready to give everybody that information because I don't really know who everybody is here. But I know there is a real R. Kelly where you're going to get the real R. Kelly from that platform. I don't want my mod already know. I gave my mod the information, but don't put it in the chat. I'm not, because there's some people I don't mess with on here, and I don't really know who they are, you know. But if they move around, they probably gonna find it anyway. But there is a real R. Kelly platform, and it's not Whack 100. I'm just gonna say that anything associated Whack 100 is not Whack 100. That is not an R. Kelly platform. As far as on the best interest of R. Kelly. After that man came out and exposed him, because that man had to go turn himself in to the feds because the feds came to his house. He said the feds kicked his door in, went through his house, and it's some other stuff that he said, you know, to the people that get caught up in certain giving certain, going to certain platforms, giving certain information, saying certain things. So you got to be careful what you talk about, who you talk about here. But he just want to bring some awareness on certain platforms, because that was something that people put out there on him, and he had to go. He turned himself. He went to go turn his own self in, and it's been. I would say, well, I noticed that some people from this R. Kelly team, some people claim to be on R. Kelly team, be going over there and everything, and they be inviting people to go over there to that platform to hear R. Kelly on a phone call. And we not sure if that's R. Kelly. Is AI, voice makeovers, and all of that, apps and things of that nature. So you got to be very careful what you listen to on these YouTube streets or on any social media when it comes around this man's name and all these other two guys' names, Jay-Z as well as Diddy, because how can they actually have a good and fair trial, which is never going to be fair? I don't care what nobody say. With these cases, with these high-profile celebrities that are black men, but they're going to want people to believe that these men are criminals, and they're not criminals in that way. But the people that are the real people that's running the so-called enterprise are not the people being held accountable, but they want to snatch these guys up so they could go at war with each other. God knows what's going on right now. God knows how he gonna move things, because he's not playing with y'all no more with no checkers. He moving people, his people, in chess. Okay? He's moving his people in chess, that this game ain't gonna continue to be played on the black man. And I'm just gonna say it the way it is. It's not gonna continue to be the black. White supremacy is not going to continue to be that. Y'all going to continue to build these prisons up and try to keep black people oppressed. God is not playing. The King of Jesus is on the throne. And when I say the throne, because of the way things are moving right now, when I say the throne, that means that's where God uses his power. And how he's moving his people, his army. And not all of us is going to have the same face as me or be in the same skin color as me. But how God is going to move his people. When I say his people, we're talking about God's people. Used to be a book written by when I was in middle school. I think when I took a lot of interest in reading, I used to like to read a lot of gangster stories. And one of the books that I enjoyed reading was by Donald Goines. It was called White Man's Justice and Black Man's Grief. Or was it Iceberg Slim? It was one of the two. But these were, at the time I was growing up, the books that was out, black literature, that was real life about the black inner city, poverty, ghettos of America. How some people just had to do what they had to do. Use what they had to get ahead or to survive. I wouldn't even say get ahead. It was just about survival. Survival of the fittest. That's what it's all about. With integration, it opened up opportunities for us, but then again, it didn't. It caused us to be more selling out who we are, and it cost us a whole lot more than when we were segregated in our schools. Our children learned more. They learned the truth about who they were. It wasn't no watered down crazy stuff. We had church, turned that church into Sunday school or school building or whatever. And then it was respected. Education was respected. It wasn't all of this foolishness they got in education today. The kids can't even write. They took out cursors and everything. So anyway, you couldn't even talk to the teacher in any kind of way. The teacher could handle her classroom the way she had to handle it. You know what I'm saying? But not in a way where it was a disrespectful way. It was in a way where the child understood that I'm the teacher and I'm here for you to be taught. And if I have to check you, I have to check you. You write a order. These days, it's like 20,000 other people got to get up in your business between that student. No, let the teacher handle her classroom. Let the teacher get control of her classroom. When everybody else get involved, it brings chaos. That's why it's so important that if you're going to take a profession as being an educator and a teacher and all this stuff, your focus got to be on your classroom and taking care of the classroom. So when you can get your classroom in order, then you could have your peace in the classroom and the children know when and when not to fuck with you. Because they with you most of the day anyway, more than they with their parents. So you got to find a space in your classroom for the peace and how to structure. But when everybody else running in and out, all that damn noise up in your classroom, all them different teachers coming in with all these different ways of ignorance of teaching, it just fucks you up. Well, anyway, y'all, like I was saying, before I got into that, I talked about survival, the survival of the fittest, what people had to do in those inner city ghettos in America, in this, I don't know what years I'm gonna go back in these books, but Donald Gomes was a street writer. So was Iceberg Splint from Black culture and in literature. Then I started moving on and I started reading books by, of course, some great literatures in Black literature that has lived is Alex Haley. I love the Roots when he did Roots. But see, we don't want to continue to see ourselves. We don't want to continue to revisit that history as far as that basically going all the way back to those generations of our trans African slave history. It was the most brutalest, hardest, disgusting. When you look back at it, it make you want to think back and just don't like other people the other people. It kind of like puts that in us that we want to comfort them. No, that's not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to look back at them and just say, hey, wow, look how far God brought us through the fight, through the struggle. That's why it's important that we was able to teach our children the Black Anthem, lift every voice and sing. It's a lot of things that we just we took away from our history and things that we should have continued to keep and not throw away. And that's why I say now that the Lord is in his holy temple, let all the earth keep silence before him. Make a joyful noise to the Lord and all the earth sing praises, meaning that sometimes when we have to get quiet, that means the Lord has to talk to us. If he has to move things out of your way and stop you and whatever was keeping you too busy to be with his time, so he can help you get where you need to go. Okay? So we sometimes want to do things without God, rushing with this, running with this world so much that God has to slow down our time and put us on a timeout. And that's exactly probably what God had to do to R. Kelly. He had to put him on a timeout. He had to put R. Kelly on a time out. Give yourself some rest. Get away from the world for a while, even though you got to deal with them brothers in there, but I'm going to find a way for you to survive for the time that I'm going to have you here. Not on their time, but on God's time. Because they trying to make it sound like they got the last say-so, but they don't. This is on God's time with R. Kelly. Because there's some unfinished business. And there's been some distractions in the way. So God is going to move us like chess and get all those pawns out of the way. Get all those pawns out of the way. Like with this right now that's going on between R. Kelly, Jay-Z, and Diddy, it's about to be a showdown. It's about to be a showdown of the unfinished business. So with that being said, I got to go. Y'all have a blessed and wonderful Thursday. And if God's willing, I may be back later on this evening. So you all be